Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Tuesday and welcome to Modern Problems, Pagan Solutions. At the time of writing this outline and of recording this video, there have been a number of issues recently with bank instability. Now, perhaps by the time this video airs, the worst of the fallout is over and done with. We've hit the bottom, we know where we're at, or perhaps not, and we're still undergoing a lot of uncertainty, wondering just how many ripple effects these events will have. But when I first envisioned talking about the idea of weathering storms, and keep in mind, I planned, the general themes for these outlines and these videos, at least a month in advance. I did not realize that we would be experiencing another layer of storms being unleashed on all of these people's finances, as if we haven't been through enough in recent years. And financial worries have been far from the only storms we've had to endure. I've said in other videos that I think most of the world has been thrown into an absolute state of existential crisis. Illusions are shattered all over the place. People are floundering. They don't know who they are, where they are, what they're doing, or why any of this is. I mean, we might as well be on a 19th century wooden boat being tossed about by the winds and the waves of a hurricane. That's certainly how it feels someday. And it would be a rare person who genuinely never felt that. And certainly there are people who would and will claim to just be as steady as a rock, and they'll say that these events of life, big or small, they just don't get to them. But how many of these people are being genuinely honest? And how many are just liars who are putting on airs to inflate their own image? I'm just saying, I don't buy the act. I believe in people being able to have good coping skills and being able to develop them, but I don't believe for a millisecond that any human being is so stoic that they never react to anything, not even within the privacy of their own heart. Because that isn't weathering a storm. That's suppression. And eventually the pressure will build up and that person will explode like a volcano. Not a great coping skill. So what does it mean to weather a storm? Especially if that storm turns into a series of storms and we can't get a clear vision of what's going on or where and why, and there's no sign of the clouds clearing up anytime soon. Now, to begin with, we need to cultivate the quality of endurance, and that requires abandoning an idealistic mindset. An idealist will torture themselves by constantly comparing their perception of the world, which is likely to be skewed to begin with, they'll compare that to how they think things ought to be. This blinds the person to the tools at their disposal to actually improve their situation, and they are drugged by this illusion of a utopia which will never exist. The result is self-destruction and a total inability to endure adversity. Secondly, we need to accept that quick and easy solutions or solutions without personal cost do not exist. Problems are solved in pieces, there will be setbacks, and what counts is, are you doing things that ultimately are within your power and that serve your goal? Is it taking you to that? Are you able to overcome those specific obstacles in the moment? Do you have a way to track your progress and measure your successes? Do you understand why your failures took place and what kind of climate is necessary to achieve success and how to cultivate that climate? Things to think about. Thirdly, we need to start measuring our goals against reality and what reality will permit, specifically the reality of how things actually work, not against our personal preferences of what we would like to see. It's time for all of us as a society to grow up and give up thinking like a child. Now, the pagan aspect of facing the problem of weathering life's storms, it lies within accepting that humans are not merely subject to the natural order. At our very beings, we are an expression of that natural order, and pretending otherwise gets us unnecessarily hurt. It's an act of self-sabotage. One of the reasons why the myriad of storms we've endured have been so disruptive and why they never seem to come to an end is because so many people in the world are operating on a false premise that their actions have no consequences and that causes will never have unwanted effects. Now, as a species, we are learning this lesson the hard way. And even those of us who have known better all along, perhaps people in generations older than myself who have been warning for decades, like, gang, this is not a good road to go down. At the end of the day, because the effort to bring people to their senses has been unsuccessful, we're all stuck on this boat together. And for a long while, I think many people have been stuck into a kind of period of mourning, and they've really struggled with the emotional aspect of having to suffer more because of the rest of the world is just completely out of its mind. But regardless of how we feel and how we're handling these feelings, there are things that need to be done, whether we feel up to doing them or not. This is another way pagan values comes into play. making the decision to attend to necessary business. And right now, there is a lot that needs to be dealt with. And to do so as effectively and as honorably as possible, even if someone is nursing a broken heart in the background. Strength is an expression of taking on the responsibility to take action. Strength is a muscle you develop. Strength is not something that you have before actually doing the thing. Now, the last thought I want to leave you with is this, and it relates to the natural order. We know from our lore that even the gods have troubles of their own, and they accept this, that it is normal, and that it is a reality of existence, no matter your station or position within the universe. If that is the situation of the gods, how much more so is that the situation of human beings? This is why we must abandon ideas that teach us that problems are something that we can forever escape from. But this doesn't mean that we're doomed to futility and sorrow, but it does mean that we need to approach the storms with a far different attitude in order to be successful in life. So those are my thoughts on that subject today. I'll leave your own thoughts for me in the comment section below. Or better yet, come see us on Gilded. There's a link in the description box to join us, and you'd be very welcome there. But that'll do it for now, and I will see you next time. Bye.